She was given 3 minutes. Not 3 hours, not 3 days, just 180 seconds before her heart would stop forever. That's what the doctors said. That's what the machines confirmed. But what no one expected was that her dog would step in, and in doing so, would challenge everything medicine believed to be true. Her name was Nia. Only 9 years old, but already acquainted with hospitals better than playgrounds. Her world had been shaped by beeping monitors, for drips, masked nurses, and the soft hum of machines that never stopped watching her. From birth, Nia suffered from a rare condition that made her heart dangerously weak, so weak, even walking across a room could drain her strength. Her doctors called it restrictive cardiomyopathy. A long name for something cruel. But Nia was different. She didn't carry bitterness. She didn't dwell on pain. She saw joy in simple things, the way sunlight danced through the hospital blinds, or the sound of rain tapping the windows. And she had one companion in all of this. A dog named Rocco. Rocco was a mixed breed, part shepherd, part something unidentifiable but beautiful. He had thick gray fur, intelligent eyes, and a presence so calm that even anxious nurses would slow down when he was around. He had been with Nia since she was a baby, and over time, it became clear he was more than just a pet. He knew when she was about to faint, he'd press against her legs or whimper low. He barked gently when her breathing became uneven. Once, when she collapsed in the living room, Rocco ran to the neighbor's house and barked until someone followed him back. People joked he had a sixth sense, but Nia's mother, Samira, didn't laugh. She believed it. By the time Nia's condition worsened at the age of 9, she was spending more days in the hospital than at home. Rocco was granted special permission to stay with her. The nurses didn't fight it. They said he brought more comfort than any machine ever could. He would lie beside her, unmoving, his head resting gently on her chest as if listening to the rhythm of her fragile heart. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a cold, quiet evening. The sky outside had turned dark too early, and Samira sat in the corner of the hospital room reading softly to Nia, who had fallen asleep just minutes before. The room smelled like antiseptic, and the only sounds were the distant humming of equipment and Rocco's slow, steady breathing on the floor beside the bed. Suddenly, the heart monitor spiked, then dropped. Nia's oxygen levels plunged. Her heart rate nosedived to almost nothing. A long, continuous beep filled the air. Nurses rushed in. A crash team followed. Code blue. Samira was pushed aside. Her screams drowned under the blur of voices shouting orders. The doctors began chest compressions. Then a shock. Then another. Nothing. No pulse, one nurse whispered, eyes wide. "She's not responding," said another. Time of arrest, 8:42 p.m. Samira's world shattered. But while everyone else backed away, Rocco moved. In a single, determined leap, he jumped onto the bed. For a moment, everyone froze, unsure what he was doing. But then they saw. He curled his body across Nia's chest, head pressed over her heart, one paw gently covering her small, lifeless hand. And then, he stayed still. Breathing slowly. Quietly. His chest rising and falling against hers, as if he were trying to lend her his own heartbeat. "Get him off the bed," a nurse shouted. But the lead doctor raised a hand. "Wait. Look at the monitor." A single beat. Then another. The long, flat beep broke into tiny pulses. The line on the screen moved. Gasps filled the room. A nurse stumbled backward, covering her mouth. Samira collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Nia's heartbeat was returning. Her chest rose, faint, but real. Her fingers twitched under Rocco's paw. And then, to everyone's disbelief, her eyes opened. "Rocco?" she whispered. The room was silent. Not a single person spoke. It took hours before anyone found the courage to call it a recovery. But the truth was undeniable, Mia had come back. Every chart said she shouldn't have. Her brain should have shut down. Her heart had stopped for too long. But there she was, alive. Weak, fragile, but very much alive. What followed was a flood of tests, scans, and consultations. Medical journals requested the case notes. University researchers called to review her file. But none of the tests could explain what happened. All they had was the footage. A video from the room's security camera showed it all. Rocco's leap. His stillness. The moment her heart restarted. It wasn't random. It wasn't an accident. It was intentional. He knew, a specialist said. He absolutely knew. In the days that followed, Mia grew stronger. Not cured, but brighter. Her laughter returned. Her color improved. Rocco never left her side. If she was sleeping, he slept. If she was awake, he followed her step for step. Mia and Rocco became more than just a patient and her dog. They became a story. A symbol. News stations picked up the footage. Headlines ran across the internet, dog revives girl with seconds to spare, doctors stunned by animal's final act. But to Mia and her mother, it was simpler than that. Rocco had just done what he always did, protected her. They were discharged a month later. Mia was placed under close observation, but now at home, where she could wake up to the sound of birds instead of machines. Her family moved to a quiet town by the hills, where the air was cleaner and the hospital was 20 minutes away instead of 5. Mia made the most of every day. Her condition was still serious, but she lived as if the clock no longer frightened her. She and Rocco had breakfast on the porch every morning, where he would rest his head on her lap and she would hum softly, fingers brushing through his thick fur. But as months passed, Rocco began to slow down. He didn't run like he used to. He needed help up the stairs. His breaths were heavier. Samira knew what was coming, but she didn't tell Mia. She didn't need to. Mia already knew. One night, Mia lay awake, stroking Rocco's fur while he slept beside her. Her voice was soft. "You gave me more time," she whispered. "But if you need to go now, I'll be okay." The next morning, Rocco didn't wake up. He passed with his head still resting on her pillow, his body curled in the same shape he had made when he saved her life. Mia held him for hours. She didn't cry right away. She just sat in the quiet, fingers gently on his fur, saying thank you. Rocco was buried beneath the tallest tree in their backyard, in a spot where the sun broke through the leaves like soft gold. On his grave was a small wooden plaque, carved by Mia herself. "He gave me his heartbeat. I'll carry it forever." A year later, Mia passed peacefully in her sleep. There was no pain. No machines. No struggle. Just a soft silence, like a candle going out after lighting the room one last time. But she left behind a story that changed people. Her case is still studied in medical schools. Her story is told at conferences about the healing power of animals. And her mother started a foundation, Heart of Rocco, to connect therapy dogs with critically ill children across the country. Some call what happened a miracle. Some call it an unexplained biological response. But those who were there don't need a scientific answer. They saw what love looks like when it takes form. When it fights for you. When it waits beside you. And when, in the last moments, it chooses to give you its very heartbeat. Because sometimes, a dog doesn't just save your life. Sometimes, he gives you back time that even the world said you'd lost.